Welcome, everybody. Here we have another wonderful dev interview. And this time around, we've got our creative director, Uwe, joining us to talk about his role and everything around being a creative director. Welcome, Uwe. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for taking some of your very busy time out to do this for us. Welcome along. Welcome along.
Hey, hello. My pleasure.
First off, it's always the question that we lead with is asking the interviewee what about their role. So what is your role as a creative director and what does that encompass?
Yeah, I mean, we already have like a quite creative team at ROCKFISH, so we have like many creative directors, to be honest. But I try my best to like curating the best ideas and like bringing the team together and trying to distill something that has consistency and that's can be written down somewhere, documented, so that we remember what we said, remember what the vision actually is, so that we don't like get too far off the road along the process, which can take over several years, as you all know. So I try best connecting all the different disciplines together. And there is, of course, Michael, our CEO.
Yep.
If we go out on a bike ride together or on conferences and so on, we like talk, then sit down and like develop a vision. And then I'm someone to like bring this vision to the team or like somehow convince them that's maybe a good idea to do this and to do that.
Yeah.
But I'm not the classical director, dictator. It's really a team effort at ROCKFISH. So yeah, that's roughly it.
Yeah. I think a lot of people that have watched these interviews or have been following the studio for a while, I think they certainly know that it's very a collaborative effort within the team. It's, you know, it's not just one person. Everybody has a voice. Everybody can have an opinion, and your role seemingly is to just help guide that along, you know, with input from all directions as such. And but I kind of the follow-on question to this is that your introduction into the gaming industry was a little bit unique because your background is nothing to do with gaming as such. But what was your background and how did you get your step into the gaming industry?
I studied architecture, like classical career, and I also finished the career. But along the way, I was already like developing skills for like 3D modeling, 3D animation. And then I started also as an architect and with exhibition design, with museums, competitions. And still like expanding my 3D knowledge and slowly drifting from like software rendering into real-time rendering because it was just like faster and interactive. And already back then in the 90s, we did like projects based on game engines. Just like real-time projects for architects. Still. And then I actually met Michael and Christian more than 20 years ago, and they were like running an architecture visualization company. And I was hired as an architect. And then along the years, we drifted from like working for architects, just like one projects. We said, okay, maybe it's just like more rewarding and way better to do a project for the entire world, for millions of users. And the first projects that I made as an architect they were also like entertainment projects, like the Red Festival in Berlin, for example, or like World Expos, Biennales, etc. So I'm used to like making a concept for entertainment, for interactive entertainment in the real world, and now it's in the virtual world. So it's not so different after all.
No, that's really interesting. It's coming from such a seen as a different discipline in terms of architecture, but obviously Michael and Christian were involved in that industry, and it's interesting. I didn't know your backstory of how you actually met, but obviously I knew that you'd met Michael a long time ago. But that's quite a good transition, you know, to see. Now, speaking more specifically about your kind of role and how the whole creative process happens. So, what does a process of something from a conceptual kind of environment into being developed into the game? What is that process like here at ROCKFISH?
Of course, we start with some like ideas in like spoken form.
Mm-hmm.
I usually sit down with lead game designer HCK if it's good locations or NPCs or any kind of feature.
Yeah.
Then hopefully we write this down in a list, and then from this list we do some sketches, and then if we like the sketches, we select them like thumbnails. The sketches can be done by hand or also in 3D recently. And then from the sketch, we build a block out, 3D block out, NPC, or if it's a location, we also like block those things like in a really rough manner and rough way. And then the ideal process is to bring this into the game as early as possible and test it for the proportions, sizes, and the potential of gameplay that we have written down previously, and then see, does this kind of match? And if it does, that's good. If not, then we do the whole thing over and over again until we get like block out that is a rough shape or form that works according to the theory. And then this is like detailed and brought to like a game ready state along the way, with several play tests in between with a larger audience, like our internal play tests. So that's the ideal process, you could say. Sometimes, of course, this is short depending on the complexity of the asset. If it's a drone, maybe compared to a Leviathan, I mean, you see the size difference. And the Leviathan in Titans DLC, that was it was a long process, really. This took like years to develop. And I think if I remember right, we did think about the Leviathans and space whales already back then with Galaxy on Fire. So sometimes those ideas can take years to get to life.
Yes, it just shows that something may not fit. For example, it may be just an idea to start with, but then it can be brought back in the future. And I'm sure there's been many instances of that throughout the development. With regards, obviously, that process, there's the time it takes. What would you consider is the most challenging aspect of your role? Be it on EVERSPACE 1, EVERSPACE 2, whatever it is, what do you think has been the most challenging?
It's the process of selecting those ideas, how to select them, how to agree, who has a say. I don't want to overrule opinions from the team. Sometimes I just can't tell if it's true or not. We need to test things out. Sometimes the budget is there, sometimes it's not. Sometimes space whales can live. They won on other occasions. They need to wait years before they come to life. And it's challenging to really say, do I have to push this idea through? Or is it something that can or should wait? It's challenging. And then, of course, when we were doing the Kickstarter campaign, we had very early promises to our audience, to our Kickstarters. And I mean obligations rather than promises, because we said, yes, you will get this and you will get that. And that's also challenging to satisfy their expectations, fulfilling our promise, and then still staying like not forgetting our own personal vision of the game. I mean, often that's something more intuitive and something you can't really tell where it comes from. And I see this often also with the HCK. I mean, he doesn't have to think a lot, and it's maybe not really like a conscious process in the head. It's just like you say, this fits and this doesn't fit. And I think that's perhaps the best guidance, because this is what we are, and this is what we can do best, and then it's authentic. Then it's what we think things have to be and things have to feel. That's maybe also the challenging thing there's always this stretch between expectations and between what are you able to actually deliver from your heart and not from your brain, so that's the difference, I think.
I think that's definitely a kind of recurring theme for anyone on the team is balancing those expectations, from so many different angles, whether it's within the team or, as you've said, from our players, going back to like the Kickstarter and everything. And I mean, I was one of the Kickstarters way back in the day of EVERSPACE 1 and EVERSPACE 2, and a dev team has a vision. That vision may shift and change through development slightly. As you've said previously, it depends on the time and the budget, for making things actually work and happen. Flip side to that, obviously they're very challenging aspects. What would you say is the most rewarding part of your role then?
If you manage to actually touch the emotions of your audience, in all the disciplines that are available to you, like music, storytelling, design, gameplay, prize. That's the most rewarding. If I see, and I mean, we have of course people in our community. You are one of them, and maybe others that are screaming and twitching. Reviews that are written where people really say, "Oh, this is so cool, this is so awesome," and this is okay, this was perhaps the right decision, without doing the calculation if it was worth the money. But at least you see and that you have reached the heart of your audience. That's, I think, pretty rewarding for us and the entire team.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's, as you said, it spreads across the whole team for that. Now I'm going to switch to some of the community questions that we've had come in. Some of these have been around for a little while, because as we've been trying to get all these interviews done, it's collating all the questions from everywhere. Now our first question is from our Discord from Kizor. And they'd like to know, is there usually a solid image of how a mission or story arc starts and ends, or is it more fluid and evolves while iterating?
I mean, it works in the same way like the art assets that are developed. So we start with a rough idea. We bring them in relation to each other. That's also very important. We need to know how long we want players to play this mission. What's the most important aspect about it? And if I think back how this worked out, the mission line of EVERSPACE 2. I would say that this was pretty much consistent, and we didn't change things a lot, around a lot. So this solid image, of course, needs to be tested, but I think it more or less stayed faithful to the vision. Otherwise, it's just not possible to do this. I mean, just look at the amount of playtime, the complexity of the mission, the size of the team. You can't start over too many times,
No.
So you need to have a solid foundation from the beginning. Otherwise, you rather sit down and let's play with words rather with game levels and game assets. It's just too time consuming and too expensive in the long run.
Definitely. Yeah, because you can iterate, but as Uwe just said there, you can only do it so often, especially with assets that you've generated, because that is a huge process, as he said as well. Changing words is a lot easier, but changing whole assets that are within the game can be very, very difficult.
Yeah. And I also have to say, I mean, our team, they have a lot of experience. We all have decades of experience. I mean, they know from experience that those things might work, and those things you don't even have to try them out. It's just nonsense. So yeah, so that's an advantage. And we are not so big. We can sit down in one room still and talk about those things.
Yeah.
That's a huge advantage compared to other way larger studios.
Yeah. I can imagine some of the bigger teams that have got like hundreds of developers on can be very difficult to manage in various forms. Now, another question, this time again from Discord, from Percival. And they would like to know what % of proposed ideas make it into release, and how often are they combined from multiple ideas?
I mean, if those are ideas coming from like thought through and talked through ideas written down in like a mission outline, it's relatively high, the percentage. I couldn't say, yeah, it's 50-50, but it's relatively high. And of course, we try them out in play tests. Sometimes we combine them if we think, oh, that was cool, or maybe we can do this for that mission. But it's relatively high, you know.
Yeah, I can
For the
imagine.
same reason,
there's a lot of times where one idea fits into a story arc or it doesn't, and you can use that elsewhere. Again, it's iteration and changes that can possibly happen, but it's good to hear that it's such a high percentage, or it can be relatively high percentage, because that obviously means that, you know, the team are experienced and they know what, as you've said, fits and what will work. Good. Another question from Discord from Pesky Husky this time. They'd like to know, how do you come up with the names for the faction, characters, systems, etc., such as the Okar and G&B, the Navark or Zarkov and so on? How does that all come about?
That's also a team effort and many sources of inspiration. Some names are like legacy things from Galaxy on Fire back then. These are just like the name of the street our studio is in. Straße. So one of the characters was called Eduardo.
Yeah.
Edu R2, you know,
the
and some game authors, they just like make proposals and we think this sounds cool. Let's just use it. Like Oka was from a game author. Cool. Yeah. I think Bernie came up with Grady and Brunt. He's from Ireland, you know, so he had this like connection. Navarre, that came from Kevin, I think, and Zarkov and all the other international names. Yeah, like from different backgrounds. So it's not that there's one guy deciding all the names, it's a group effort. And then again, curating, sitting down with the team and then discussing, oh, how do those names sound like? And I can't really tell because it's for an English audience. So I need someone like Bernie or like Joshua, our story or narrative consultants. How would this sound for an English ear or an American ear? And then we do the selection here again. So that's how this comes together.
Excellent. So we kind of take elements from many aspects, and also different mythologies, different cultures, etc., that can all kind of tie in easily. But as you've said, it's very much a kind of group effort. Now, this kind of ties in with a question from Pesky Husky again. They noticed some of the names and elements within the game come from cultures all around the world. What kind of inspired you to incorporate those elements from different cultures? Again, you've touched on it briefly, but is it just stories, games, etc., that kind of give you that influence?
I mean, space has always been like a race of nations into space, so I think it's already logical to like come up with like different nations. And now they're all spacefaring. They all come from planet Earth, so of course in the Belgrades there will be a reflection or an echo of those nations, of course. We have like contacts with Chinese, Korean, Japanese like partners, employees even. So we thought this should be reflected. Korean concept artist. And I worked in China myself, in Shanghai,
Oh, wow.
as an architect for the World Expo back then. So
Right.
I thought
Mm.
these names would be there. So
Mhm.
that's basically it. So.
Cool. Yeah. So again, real life experience and people that we've interacted with have kind of fashioned our designs in many aspects. Carrying on with the question again from Pesky Husky, they obviously knew that you were from the architectural background, but did that play a role in crafting locations and puzzles? And if it did, can you tell us about more about the designing them, or was there any puzzles locations in particular that you enjoyed designing?
I mean, I wasn't so much involved in the designing puzzles, but I was
Mm.
certainly involved in design of the locations.
Hmm.
So I did do like architectural drawings of those memorable and iconic and like expensive to build locations.
Yeah.
So like a ground floor section and like more or less sketching this how this could look like.
Hmm.
Like Vesna Mining Colony, for example. This
Okay.
was like one of the larger locations. Then the
Yes.
Alpha Draco thermal plant,
Hmm.
volcano, the lava lake
Hmm.
underground. And Gilberton Naval Base was also like a cool place, with this tilted, half submerged space station. So those were things that I actually sketched, and I thought it would be cool, like the tilted thing, and then all the water and the diving passages and so on.
Yeah.
And the
Cool.
puzzles themselves, they were all done by the level designers. And of course, I was discussing, there could be like here and there maybe a puzzle opportunity, but this was all they're doing. So I didn't like say we need this and that puzzle. No.
Cool. Yeah. We've the environments that we've handcrafted, and Tony and Marv and everybody else that's worked on those, and the designs around the environments are just phenomenal. That we create not only a storyline, but there's other little elements that you can see with our puzzles that are involved in the game. I know some people have spent hours upon hours finding all the puzzles and looking in every nook and cranny that is in our game, and some enjoy it, some don't, and we certainly know that. But next question, it comes from Reddit, because we did a shout out on Reddit, and thank you very much for those over on Reddit for throwing in a couple of questions. This one's from Pellenth, and they ask, what is an aspect of EverSpace 2 you would like to have changed or had more time to develop?
Well, it's a pretty large game world,
Mhm.
with all those locations that you were mentioning. But they were built, like many of them, to fulfill the golden path or the main missions and the side missions. But I would have liked to like implement more like living and breathing world features, with like more traffic, more creatures, more things you can just like stand by and observe what is being done, and for better understanding the logic of the locations, like mining, cargo, maybe some skirmishes between warfaring parties, and then just like watch the play. So I would have liked more of those things. They are sometimes expensive and a nightmare to build, and then they interfere with the golden path and with other gameplay. So no. We never had any time for this. This was like also like we had those releases every 3 months, another update, and then another star system, and like crafting all the locations, the main missions, the ships. So this was always like bam, 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 and no time for like contemplation or like those like pretty features, that you might discover after having observed, the world for a while.
Yeah.
But anyway, and then I would have liked more budget and more time for the cinematics. I would like lip sync. I would have liked like more time for the animation process. Same thing here. We only had like a couple of weeks time to produce them, and we just had like 2 or 3 guys in the studio who were like doing them by hand and then animating them. And this was like always, I would have liked more time and more budget for that.
Yeah.
And same for the modular ships. I also think that it's cool that they are modular, but we should have put more thought into the modular design, and that's again something just we need to release, and then one more time to spend here and next feature. That's just the way it is.
I think it's something that we've definitely touched on all through the live streams that we've had over the years, is that one of our, and I'm sure there are other development companies that will feel exactly the same, is one of our most precious commodities is time. We always, we've got so much we'd like to achieve. There's so many aspects that we'd love to put in, but we are, restricted heavily by time, and that is a precious resource for us. So it's good to hear that there's, there was always the idea of, having these nice background elements, as you've said, with, warring factions and watching things happen in the background, and, just it being more living and breathing as a universe. But sadly, we just can't fit everything in, and it's very difficult to do. And as you said, Uwe, when you've got this golden path of a story, you don't want anything to interfere. You don't want anything to get in the way of that. And sadly, we do have to cut things back. You touched on the modular player ships, and we did actually have a question from Morbihan over on Reddit regarding those. And they said, did you have concepts for the various ship types and assemblies, or did you go with an entirely modular approach of having 10 wing types as a separate concept and the same other bits that make up the ship, and then combine them in ways that looked interesting?
We did concepts, blockouts for the modules, then we put them together into like one archetype of a bomber, interceptor, sentinel, gunship. And then we developed the detailing of those modules according to this one concept. And then only later they were like cut again into like different modules, and then put together, like randomized and put in the shops. And I think initially I said, no, let's not randomize that. Let's just like use the best combinations and let the players later do the combinations of the modules. This would have been the better way, I guess. That we we had them randomized, and we didn't really control this modules combination process. Of course, it's always a matter of taste, but again, as I said previously, if there is a vision how things should look like, I think we should like sit down and then select the best ones, and we just didn't have the time to do this. Unfortunately, and a lot of time was spent like building the modules and like thinking about all the classes and subclasses of the ships. And then there we didn't have the time to really curate the ships in the best possible way, which is a tragedy. I would have liked to put more time in there as well. But anyway, it's just the way it is. Can't change this anymore.
Again, it just comes back to that whole time thing, doesn't it? We don't have time. To deadlines and everything do creep up on us. But I'm going to call you an industry veteran here now, because obviously you've been working for quite a while now, 20 odd years within the industry. In that time, what is your biggest realization regarding the industry? What do you think, like, it's like, wow, you either didn't expect it, or what has changed that's been a pinnacle moment?
Maybe when I started, we always thought, it would be cool to be to work on like large titles, and whatever it is, and to work for a AAA studio and stuff. But the longer you are involved, the longer you see like also the fate of other like colleagues that you have in the industry, other companies with AAA, you find out it's actually quite a rewarding and more fruitful situation that we are in as a AA, as a small studio, and with a team that has been working together for decades. We know each other pretty well. Of course, we have our difficulties here and there, but it's still way easier than if compared to a AAA studio. That's what I see. And often I'm glad that we are in such a position, and also that we have such a good connection to our audience and to our community. This started with a Kickstarter campaign, and you are totally aware of that. And previously, we were like working in for mobile games, and I didn't have this connection to the community back then. This were millions and millions of users, but I didn't really know them, to be honest. And with Kickstarter and with the forum for EVERSPACE 1 back then, and also like the streamers, people like you, this changed quite a bit, you know. And then you have like a different mindset if you do something for the game, for your community, and and for the best of the game and of those who are playing it. Right?
Definitely. I certainly I think it's just shows how the industry has changed, and it will always change. You know, it's a fluid kind of thing. We've had, you know, YouTube, we've had streaming. What's in the future for the industry, and, you know, getting the word out there, we don't know. I'm sure something will come along. And as you said, when you were going back to Galaxy on Fire, you had millions of installs on people's phones, but you didn't have that connection. Whereas when Kickstarter came along, it was totally different because you got that connectivity with the player. So yeah, things do change, and it's very much a fluid dynamic. Now, I always ask this one. It always seems a little bit suck-up kind of question, but I always like to ask it. What do you enjoy about working at ROCKFISH Games? I know you kind of already touched on it about the community, but specifically, what do you like about working for ROCKFISH Games?
Yeah, because we are such a small team, and because we are still indie, we have creative freedom, and we can, and we are able to produce it and to deliver it because we have a better team.
Yeah,
and we're not depending on so many other things. If you're an architect, you're depending on, you know, politicians, on like, of course, budgets, but then it's not your budget, it's someone else's budget. Depending on hundreds of different contractors, and the weather, and what contracts, etc. It's very hard to be creative in that context.
Yeah.
It's way more creative in game development.
Yeah.
And there is a technical aspect to it. There's an artistic aspect to it. There's like a cultural aspect to it. And all this combined, I mean, that's what I understand creativity should be all about. Yeah. No, that's good. It does echo within the team that everybody here genuinely does enjoy working for the company. Everybody has a different viewpoint of that. Obviously, Uwe, being the creative director, has that creative freedom that he you know, desires so much, and it's enjoyable. And I think it's testament to how well the studio is run. Now, outside of working for ROCKFISH Games, do you play many games yourself? What is your go-to relaxation hobby? I think we already know. Yeah, of course I do play games. I like games that are narrative based, you could say. Yeah. But if I can, if the weather is fine, and I also like going on cycling tours with Michael, talk about games maybe. Talk about our vision. But it also clears your mind. It lets you like step away, a step back. From like staring at screens constantly. I think that's very important, to do something physical. And to remain fit. So I do cycling, triathlon. We also go sailing with Michael and Christian every once in a while, Baltic Sea. So that's something that we do. We also go racing there. So, and we talk about our studio and the games in the meantime. So it's always there somehow. It's always there. Yeah. It's Uwe is definitely the probably one of the fittest, if not the fittest guy at the studio. I think every time I've been to Hamburg, he's cycled everywhere, and he cycles for miles, and he thoroughly loves it, and he's got a wonderful collection of cycles as well. So cool. But it's good that you got a relaxation hobby away from, as you've said, looking at screens and everything as well.
So, our kind of penultimate question is: obviously, you play games, you watch films, as we all do. Has there been anything that really stands out that's influenced your creativity? It could be a film or it could be a game. Have you got good examples of those?
There's actually many. I couldn't really point out one special thing, but what I, what I'm often mentioning is Stanley Kubrick, or Star Wars and Star Trek, especially the new generation. There's like lots of inspiration from there. For the art and for the creatures that was the new Mandalorian series, I think that's something that's actually pretty cool. And also like watching the concept art and when the credits roll, it's always super inspiring for me. If it comes to like yes, the staging and storytelling, maybe it's the Kurosawa movies and the book series. That's a game, about those samurai. Tsushima in UK.
Yeah,
I really liked Detroit Become Human. The artificial life and human life aspect that we have in EVERSPACE with the cloning thing.
Yeah,
that was super inspiring. And gameplay-wise, I still think Portal 2 is fantastic. It's like one of my favorite games. It's like gameplay and the creativity in gameplay is fantastic. I really like the Mass Effect series, or the sci-fi in space, the characters, the storytelling, the mission design, the level design. That was all super inspiring. We often talk about Skyrim, the open world aspect of it, and the side missions versus main missions versus player freedom versus like crafting, etc. I actually like the Dragon Age series as well, but there was like with storytelling basically.
Yes, yeah.
I'm a fan of the Witcher series 1, 2, and 3. Also, I played them all, and I really enjoyed them from the narrative perspective. GTA, of course, always a good reference.
Yeah,
and so those are the things that are in my mind.
Yeah. Cool. This is always a tough question, but I do like to ask everybody. But if you could have worked on one specific game, and I know this is always very, very hard to do, if you could pick out the one game, what would it have been?
I mean, we made some fantasy games back then in the mobile days, and I've been into sci-fi for decades now, and I always thought maybe one day another fantasy game would be cool.
Yeah.
And I really liked The Witcher because it was like the first fantasy game back then when it was Witcher 1 that had a little bit like a more grown-up approach, on like the aesthetics, on like storytelling. I always thought that could have been interesting. But then, as I said previously, I mean, Project Red is a giant now, and I met many of those guys working there and on conferences, and it's just a machine, and it's insane. It would be, I think, too big for me.
Yeah.
Being an architect maybe would have been interesting for like environment design, like level design, cities, and all the props they have. So that would have been interesting, for me perhaps. On the other hand, it's like AAA, it's too many people, and then as I told you before, maybe I wouldn't enjoy that too much, really, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I mean, even with like The Witcher 3 getting another expansion coming out soon, I think it's next year. I mean, that's just ridiculous. But it's a brilliant title. I mean, I've played it quite a lot, and it is fantastic. But as you've said, it's such a huge project. And then obviously the next Witcher game that's going to be coming after that, again, is going to be absolutely huge as well. But very difficult to manage overall for all them teams.
I'm curious how they will perform, and Witcher 1 there will be a remake about Witcher 1 as well.
Yeah.
But I'm curious what Witcher 4 will be all about with Ciri and so on. So that's
looking forward to it. Right, that's the normal part of the interview done. As always, now we always bring in 10 rapid fire questions, which are which Uwe doesn't know about. He hasn't seen these questions, but I know HCK, Michael, Malti, and the others have done these questions, and it's pretty much a which you prefer or which is better in your opinion. So I'll give you kind of two options, 10 rapid fire, and we'll see what Uwe comes up with. Usually it takes a few seconds to answer, but if you're Michael or Malti, it might take you about 30 because of the tough questions. But right, first question is water or beer?
Water.
Okay, water. Question number 2, the Eiffel Tower or the Colosseum?
The Colosseum.
Colosseum. Okay. I did think you'd go for the Colosseum because of the architectural aspects of it. Yeah. Question 3, classical music or dance music?
Classical music.
Classical music. Okay. Question 4, travel 500 years into the future or 500 years into the past?
Into the future.
To the future. Cool. Which is your favorite from Eduardo or Carla?
I think Eduardo.
Eduardo. Cool. I definitely know the answer to this question. Question 6, cycling or running?
Oh, yeah, cycling.
Yeah. Definitely. Question 7, reality TV or a drama?
A drama.
A drama. Cool. Question 8, when sat on a plane, do you prefer a window seat or an aisle seat?
A window, of course.
Seat. Yeah. Question 9, which is your favorite meal, breakfast or dinner?
Dinner.
Okay. And the last question, again, I always ask this to everyone on the team. Which do you prefer, EverSpace 1 or EverSpace 2?
I'm nostalgic and I really enjoyed EverSpace 1 and was like, so I almost would say EverSpace 1, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Everybody does struggle a little bit with that question. It's almost like choosing your favorite sibling or your favorite, friend, it's like, I don't want to choose. But yeah, a lot of people have gone for EverSpace 1, but cool. Yeah, there was a few in there that I thought, yeah, Uwe's just gonna, know exactly what he likes here. But yeah, I'm a window seat person on a plane as well. I like to see, I like to look out the window. Right, that wraps it up. Thank you, Uwe, for spending time, taking time out of your day to join us. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you and diving into the whole process of being a creative director. And hopefully you've enjoyed it too, and it hasn't been too bad.
I enjoyed it a lot, Garry. And thanks for your efforts and for your dedication.
Cool. Yeah.
And also thanks for all of to our fans for in Kickstarter or EverSpace 1, 2, and future projects. So I think it's something quite exceptional that we have here. Thanks a lot for everything that we have done for us as well.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you for those kind words, Uwe. Right, I'm going to hand back to myself and continue on with the rest of the stream. See you soon.